In order to get to the later tiers of fusion crafting and everything else offered in Draconic Evolution, you're going to need to kill the Chaos Guardian. And the Chaos Guardian is strong, and you need good gear. So let's talk about gear modules. I'm going to take the Draconic Bow as one of the examples here. Let's say you've made it in your fusion crafting. There are different tiers of the bows. There's a Wyvern bow, and you can then upgrade it to a Draconic bow, for example, and later a Chaotic bow. So with the modules, some of them do have different tiers. Let's take the modules you can see on my screen, for example. There's the Draconic Projectile Damage module. You will need a Draconic bow to use that. There's a Chaotic Projectile Damage module. You'll need a Chaotic bow to use that. So how do we use them? Well, Shift and C is the default, and you can put your modules into these slots here. Now, some modules will actually be able to stack. So what you can see is that I've got 5 Draconic Projectile Damage modules. And can you see on the right-hand side, it's showing the energy capacity of my item, the energy transfer, velocity, inaccuracy, base damage, etc. Because we have these projectile velocity modules, which obviously makes them a lot faster, so that the arrow flies a lot faster towards your target. However, it does add some inaccuracy. So inaccuracy 40%, I take it off, it's 38%. Now there is modules obviously that will make it more accurate. We've got Draconic Projectile Damage, base damage 250%, 200%, and these can, you can add multiple of them in here to do more and more damage. The more modules you put in, the more energy you will require to use your bow. Now, the Draconic bow doesn't need arrows. It makes its own arrows, which is amazing. You will need an energy module in here. There's obviously different tiers of energy modules. The higher the module, the higher the energy. To charge them, you could either put them in any kind of mods charger, like the Creative Energy Cube from Mechanism. I could just plop it into the slot. It would go in, but it's full of energy, so it won't. Or there's the Energy Transfuser from Draconic Evolution. So if you're already used to using the energy crystals, you can upgrade these, by the way. So there's Draconic versions. You can see here links 1 out of 4, whereas these ones are links 1 out of 2. Charge 64 million versus 4 million, for example. And you could plop this onto the top of your energy transfuser. Don't forget to use your crystal binder. Shift right click one, right click the other, and then with an empty hand, make sure to shift right click it to output to block on the transfuser and input from block wherever it's coming from. Or you could just use cables from Mechanism on this top slot. So we go into the energy transfuser. You see there's different logos on here or icons. It doesn't really matter too much, but you can have it in here. So what you do is you put your Draconic bow in this slot. It shows you how much energy is stored in the Draconic bow. And you can say charge, accept power from external sources, discharge, where you're discharging to external consumers. If this was set to input from block, I could discharge the energy in my bow into the crystal. And then this button says, the leftmost item will receive charging priority, power inputs will be balanced between all 4 slots, etc., etc. It's up to you how you balance the energy charging for the different slots you have. So you could charge a few different items at once if you wanted. Now, this is the kind of like lightning bolt icon. If I go my Draconic bow and right-click it onto there, a little line comes up and I go in and it's gone into that slot with the lightning bolt, or whatever we're calling it. There. So you can input from different sides to go into different specific slots if you wish. Regarding the items you have in Draconic Evolution, we have Wyvern gear, and then we have the chest plate. The chest plate is the only piece of armor that you need. It has shields that you can add into modules, so you don't need legs, chest, feet, and head. You only need the chest plate, and it goes Wyvern, Draconic, and then Chaotic. Chaotic needing a chaotic core, which does need you to kill the Chaos Dragon in order to get these, and you wouldn't have done that yet if you're still on Draconic. So the chestplate has shields. There's a staff that is only available from Draconic. It's basically like a Paxil, all in one. So let's now go through some of the upgrades that we have available to us. There's the energy modules. The higher the tier, the more energy it can have. There's also a wireless energy link, and again, there's higher tiers of these. This is really cool because what I've done is, if I go into here, Shift and C, remember, C for Charlie, what you'll notice is the wireless energy link goes massive when you put it in here, so it takes up quite a lot of slots. But what I can do is shift right click on a basic wireless energy crystal, so a wireless version that you can make of the energy crystals, and that will link it up to here. Link that up to your relays or whatever, and then it's going to have, you know, energy going in, and then we can wirelessly charge our gear through the wireless crystal. There's speed upgrades, because remember, these go into all different items, so that you could put this into your pickaxe. Axes chop faster, pickaxes mine faster, bows shoot faster, and the chest plate makes you faster. The better the speed module, the better the quicker they go. Projectile damage, pretty obvious what that does. Projectile velocity, pretty obvious what that does. It increases the velocity. Projectile penetration. Crossbows have an enchantment which allows their arrows to go through multiple targets and continuously dealing damage. This is what this does. That's what the projectile penetration does. Accuracy is the one that will increase accuracy. Remember, some of them will reduce accuracy, so that'll increase it. Gravity compensation. You know, when you fire an arrow in Minecraft and it kind of goes up in a bell curve and comes back down, this reduces that bell curve, so it makes it easier to kind of use arrows going in a straight direction for further. Area of effect, so 3x3, you know, 5x5, etc. when you're mining and doing things like that. Ender collection, items gotten from the tool this is on will go to your ender chest. How cool. Basic damage module, pretty simple. Axes and swords do more damage and it can stack, just like the arrow damage one. Tree harvesters, if you put it on an axe, it's vein mining for axes. We have the Undying module. This is like an Undying totem. It does have a cooldown and uses a lot of energy every time it's used. The higher versions have much less of a cooldown. And then you've got the shielding capacity, which you add to your chest plate to get more and more shielding. And then large shield capacity, so, you know, upgraded version of the basic one. Shield recovery, want your shield to come back and not just when you almost die, then you'll need recovery modules, so that will recover. Imagine playing Halo. I don't know if everyone's watching has played Halo, how your shields recover, or in a lot of games of shields. I'm sure you understand the concept. Within shield control changes the actual shield you have and when it regenerates, which is interesting. Flight module gives you flight. Jump, bigger jump. Auto feed, it auto feeds. Night vision, Aqua Adapt for mining, mining stabilizer. What does that do? When falling, your mining is slowed down. That includes with creative flying. Oh, so it makes it like normal when you're in creative flight and stuff like that. Normal mining. And hill step. There's also selective incineration. Oh, okay, so it's a filter for like chests and stuff where it'll incinerate things. Auto fire. Most bows are semi-automatic. You have to draw. Bow automatically fire every time it's fully drawn. Wow! Oh my god! That's a really easy one to make. And to make these, by the way, you need module cores, which are just made like this, and then you know make them as shown. And then lastly, there's the projectile immunity cancellation module. Thanks to Newton, we know for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. Basically, when an arrow hits a mob, the force of the mob applies to the arrow, which will slow it down. Unless you have this module, it doesn't act as if every mob was paper. It acts as if every mob isn't in the way. Arrows won't slow down after piercing a target. Oh, okay, cool. And that is all of the modules that you can add into your gear. And again, you just shift and C, and you can add them into this grid here for your modules. And it does tell you on here supported modules for each item if you're ever not sure. I hope you did enjoy the video. Click that subscribe button if you did, and of course leave a thumbs up. If you're looking for other mod guides, I do a hell of a lot on this channel. My actual goal on this channel is to complete every major mod in the entirety of Minecraft for Forge, Fabric, etc. If you look at my channel, I have a tech mod shelf, a magic mod shelf, a utility and standalone mod shelf, so ones that aren't in playlists. I also have now mod pack guides as a shelf. So at the moment, I am live streaming through RLCraft. And you can get that, of course, on my lives. I live every Wednesday and Saturday. And you can always see when the next scheduled stream is. And I play through the mod pack, and then I will also do separate guides on that mod pack. So if you are looking for specific mod packs, or you just want to come along and ask me some questions or hang out, you can also do that there. Do also just use the search bar if you are looking for a specific mod. And if you'd like to play with me, the mod pack that I do live stream, I do from our Patreon server, which of course you can join down below, which would massively support the channel, but also gets you access to things like that.